Well, good morning, ladies. It is Friday, November 18th, and in a few short days, just under 2 weeks, Miss Carolyn Dunn's amazing devotional Seek, Listen, Walk will be out. But I want to talk to her about some other things first. So, Carolyn, do me a favor. Let's see. I met you. How long ago was it that I met you? It's been a
Uh,
couple of years.
it's been a few years. I mean, I'd say 4 or 5 years, something like
Yeah.
that, maybe.
Yeah. And so when you and I met, I just automatically just fell in love with you because I think it's hard not to, to be honest.
Oh, that is so nice.
And you spoke at a women's like a women's brunch or something that we had at our church, and you were just phenomenal. So ever since then, I have just been, just loving me some Carolyn Dunn. And so when you and I reconnected on Facebook
Mhm.
and just kind of, again, reconnected, you had this amazing devotional, and I was like, girl, when this comes out, you have got to tell me because I want to share this with all my girlfriends. So would you just take a second and just go ahead and tell everybody about yourselves, introduce yourself, and then also just where you're at, what you're doing, and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks, Holly, for having me. I do. I still remember meeting you in the foyer of your church, and love your church, by the way. Love your pastors. I think they're phenomenal. And it's funny, I actually had just a few days ago a picture pop up, and I brought my youngest daughter with me, and at that time she was like 5 years old, which is so crazy to think that she got to travel with me and she got to hang out with me, with you guys in Tip City. But yeah, so I'm Carolyn Dunn, originally from Sweden. Grew up in Sweden. Both Swedish parents, not American parents, but my parents decided when I was 4 years old that let's do something new and let's move to America. And so we moved to outside of Chicago and lived there for 4 years. That's why when everyone's like, "Do
Was
you not
there,
know that?"
well, no, I mean, they just kind of just decided, just out of nowhere?
Well, Well, my mom, my grandfather was a pastor, and so he had actually worked in Andersonville, which is just north of Chicago, in an all Swedish community. And so he didn't actually speak a single word of English because
Wow.
the church was in Swedish, the
Yeah,
stores were in Swedish, all that stuff. So my parents, I'm just getting comfy here. Is that okay? I'm just
go
kicking up my
ahead.
leg a little bit here.
I mean,
Okay.
everybody's on here and joining us. They're all kicking back on their couches with their coffee. So you do the same with your
Okay,
tea.
awesome, awesome. So, yeah, so they had lived out in the Chicago area, and Rockford, Illinois had a ton of Swedish people in it. So they were familiar with the area, and so they just decided, hey, let's try something new. And so they just moved our whole family, and for 4 years we lived outside of Chicago. So
That's awesome.
pretty crazy, right? So
Yeah.
that led me to, I think because those 4 years of my life were so I loved it. I loved the city. I loved the school I went to. I just loved America. And so even growing up, when we moved back to Sweden, my heart always wanted to come back to America. So I would come back and visit all the time. And then I came back for university and kind of got stuck in America and spent the last 20 years in the U.S. until the Lord just recently, about a year ago, called me back to Sweden. So my husband and I are both pastors, and God said, okay, well, it's time to go and live missionally in Stockholm, Sweden. And I want you to be working with churches. I want you to be discipling women. I want you to make a difference in Sweden. And so here we are now, about a year and a half later, in Stockholm with our three beautiful girls. So I have a teenager. Can you believe that? I have a
Um,
teenager.
you don't
I'm
look
still
old
trying
enough
to
to have a
process that.
teenager. Just saying that. So you do not look old enough to have a teenager.
Well, thank you. That was very nice. So I do have a teenager, and she keeps me on my toes. She
They
keeps me
do.
on my toes. So
Well, real quick, when you said you moved to Sweden, that the God had called you to that, can you tell me? Because I remember you said to Sweden, and I hope you know what, reaching the world?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, yes. I was like, wait, where's she going?
I know. I'm like, I hope you're picking up what I'm
Yeah,
throwing down.
yeah. So the Lord called us back to Sweden, and I've always had a huge global mindset. For me, the world has always been bigger than just Sweden. The world has always been bigger than just America. Like missions is a big part of my heart. I thought at one point I was called to be a missionary after my first mission trip to Mexico. And so for me, I think, especially with the globalization of the world
Yes.
and how each country impacts all the other countries,
Mhm.
man, what a great opportunity to share the gospel. And so when I work on things, so when I do projects, my view is not this, but my view tends to be this. It's like, okay, who else can be included in this? Who can be part of this? And so, yeah, so reach Sweden, reach the world is kind of the motto that Brian and I have. It's our part of our vision statement for being here in Sweden. And in that, we see so many foreigners here in Sweden. I have a women's discipleship mentorship group that meets. I just have to tell you how this is. This is so much fun. So it was me, and then I had someone from Lithuania, someone from South Africa. I had an American and an Australian. Like in my discipleship group here in Stockholm, Sweden. Isn't that crazy?
You're reaching the world.
I'm reaching the
That's
world.
it. That's it. Yeah. So you have that discipleship group there. And then, so what took you to this place to, like, did you always dream about writing a devotional? Did you just kind of,
Oh,
how did this come about?
how did it come about? Well, I turned 40 this year. Okay, so the big 4-0 came this year. And it was one of those, it's been really interesting because moving back to Sweden, everyone's like, oh, you're moving back home and you're going to see all these friends and blah, 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 blah. And the reality is I left when I was 19. You know, so some of those friendships that I had, you call them up and you're like, I really don't know what's been happening in your life for the last 20 years, but we were friends in high school. Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
was so, and so to be honest with you, last year was really a defining year for me. Who's Carolyn? You know, we left a great church. I left a place where I was known. You know, I'd walk in on a Sunday morning as a pastor on staff, and everyone was super excited to see me. To walking into a church here where no one could have really, and I say this not in a mean way, but they could have cared less if I was there or not.
Yeah.
And it was hard because part of this last year, my husband was still in America, so I was here with my kids in church, trying to make a difference, trying to, you know, and it's just a very different culture here in Sweden than in America. And I remember just sitting there in that queue going, who even wants to hear what God's doing in my life? Like, I don't have a title. No one knows who Carolyn Dunn is. No one's saying, hey, Carolyn, come and share from the platform. But God was doing so much in my life. And so I was really just praying, Lord, what do you want me to do while I'm here? You know, I'm kind of in that whole new ministry stage, wanting God to do something new in me and through me. And kind of just the thought that came to my mind was, there are so many things that God is doing every day in everyone's life, but very rarely are we ever handed a microphone to share about what God's doing.
Yeah.
You know, even in churches nowadays. I mean, I remember growing up and there were testimony nights, right?
Yeah.
Let's have testimony nights, and people would come up and they would share what God would be doing. Okay, some people needed to put that microphone down, though. Okay,
Yes,
that 2 to 3 minute testimony, it was like 20 minutes, and you're like, okay, I don't need to hear your whole life story. I just want to hear what God did in your life this week. No.
yeah.
But in that, it was just one of those. God just said, Carolyn, you've always been a woman who has promoted other women. You've always been a woman who has called other women to embrace things and do things that they have dreamt about doing or never dreamt about doing or even thought they had the potential of doing. And so in that, came about this whole devotional, and it started out first with a different title. It didn't even have the title Seek, Listen, Walk. It actually was my journey, and in that it evolved and it became Seek, Listen, Walk. And it was one of those, I was turning 40, so I reached out to a bunch of women and I said, hey, for my birthday, I want you to write something for me. Well, yeah. So you don't have to give me a gift, just write something. And out of that came, the deadline was my birthday. So March 27th was the deadline. Well, the first deadline. We had a couple more deadlines because we didn't all make the deadline. And so, yeah, out of that kind of came about the project.
So did you know, like in that, as you're like preparing the project and how did you determine which women were the ones that you wanted to contribute to the book?
Yeah, great question. For me, I wanted it to be women I had journeyed with, you know, and I have seen in my life that the Lord will bring different women into my life for different seasons and
Hmm.
for different reasons. And I've had the privilege of being around some amazing women from all over the world. And so I did. I compiled actually a list of 100 women.
Wow.
And there were some women I have journeyed with for over 20 years.
Hmm.
Some I've only met once. And I just did. I drafted a letter uh, and and sent it out and said, hey, here's my heart. Here's what I want to do. Do you want to be part of it?
Hmm.
And then I left it in the Lord's hands. Because then I said, okay, Lord, this is my list of 100.
Hmm.
Whoever says yes will say yes. Whoever says no. I won't take it as personal rejection if they say no either. And that
Amen.
was a
That's
big one for me. Like that was huge because part of me is like, whenever I do a project, it becomes my baby. Here's my
yeah.
baby. You want to be, and I'm a people pleaser, and I love having people join me on the journey and be part of what I'm doing. So when the rejection, they weren't rejection. It was just people said, no, it's not the right time. No, this is not my gifting. This is not my talent. Um, for me, that was the Lord's way of weeding out people who weren't supposed to be part of the project.
But I love that you were able to say, I'm not going to take this as a personal rejection because often, no matter where we're at in life, let's just make this a little teaching moment for all of us, right? No matter where we're at in life, we think for whatever reason, if somebody says no, or I can't, or whatever, that it's a personal thing where, like you just said, it's God just filtering through and sifting who he wants in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was some people that I thought were going to say yes didn't. And some people that I thought were like absolutely not interested said yes. I was like, oh. I do have to share this really cool. I have one of my contributors because she said no. So she like right away, it was an email back and just said, no, I'm not interested. And, so I had a very nice color coded sheet. So they came in red. Okay. My yellows were maybes and my greens were yeses, so Excel spreadsheet, but it's the only way I could keep track of all these 100 women, right? Who had I talked to?
Yeah.
And so I did one deadline and then I extended the deadline because a bunch of people missed the first deadline. And then it was this summer. So we're already in like editing process. We are in graphic design process. And she reached out back to me and she's like, hey, Carolyn, can I still be part of this? She's like, I knew the Lord wanted me to say yes, but I was so scared to death to be part of something and to submit something that I just said no.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, yes, of course we can add another one, not a problem, So I just sent another email to my editor and said, okay, here you go, here it is. And for me, that was, again, the heartbeat behind any time I do ministry or how I live my life, actually, Holly, because it's not just my ministry category, it's my life. It was like, oh, I'm so glad I asked her. I am so glad the Lord walked her through this process of first saying no, and then him
Yeah.
go, but I trust you, and I trust what I can do in you and through you, so trust me. And her devotional is absolutely beautiful. It is just beautiful. And the fact that I get to be part of that journey and a small piece of encouraging her. One of the other women who's part of it just responded back, yes, I've been asking the Lord to open up a door like this for me in my life. And so it's just been neat to see the different responses of what has happened. I have another friend who was going to miss the deadlines, wasn't able to be part of it, and is actually kicking herself now. And she's like, I just should have sat down and I should have written my devotional. And here's the fun part. I'm already thinking about the second book, and we're not officially launched the first one, right? So
I
I
love
told her, you're in the second one, friend. You are in the second one. So,
I
yes.
love that. And is there like, and I was curious about this because I got a little sneak peek, thank you very much, of
Yes.
this incredible devotional. I loved what I read. It was such different perspectives. And I think for me there was some that just were like huge pictures in my mind that boldly spoke to my spirit and it was like boom in my face. And then there were those that just quietly whispered and I knew, but I heard them all the same. It was just it was just really cool. But I absolutely, I mean, just loved what I read. Um, but what I was curious about as I'm reading these is, was there a common thread? Obviously, other than being believers, was there any sort of common thread in these women that you found afterwards, or when you were coming up with their names? Like,
Um, I think I did. I tried not to give them too many. I mean, I gave them obviously some guidelines. You know, it has to be this many words. There needs to be scripture. It needs to be a real life application. What the big thing that I saw with all of them, and it kind of became the subtitle of the book, The Journey of Intentional Women.
Mm.
And so it is Seek, Listen, Walk, and it's the journey of intentional women. And as I look at all these women, they're intentional in their relationship with God. They're intentional if they're married in their marriages. They're intentional with their parenting. They're intentional with their friendships. And so they are not women who just let things happen.
Yeah.
You know, because again, if I say, well, one day I'm going to read the Bible, or someday I'm going to read the Bible, or someday I'm going to do something special for my husband, it doesn't happen. And so I think the red thread that I saw through all of this, and I saw in their devotional, was that intentional pursuit of God. And I loved it, and that's where I think if we really want spiritual growth, if we really want spiritual maturity, it has to be an intentional pursuit. I'm not one day going to sit down and play a grand piano and be this excellent pianist, but I have to take practice, and I have to practice every day, and I have to get better at it, and I have to get feedback, and I got to have someone who coaches me and teaches me and mentors me. And, that's the thing that is so key, and I think what we saw in all of these devotionals, that intentionality.
I love that. And I want to ask you too. So you said that it was a different title. Mm-hmm. What did you say the title was?
My Journey. I was just going to call it My Journey.
Yeah, My Journey. And then it shifted to Seek, Listen, and Walk. Can you tell our viewers about this, because I love this. Mm-hmm. You were talking, and I think in one conversation, because I don't want you to, because I'm totally throwing this question out there for her, just so you guys know, we have not discussed this one. So, but you had explained to me the Seek, Listen, Walk, and how so often we do those things out of order. Can you share that with the lady?
Yeah. I'm a go-getter. I am, let's make it happen, let's just do it, okay? And in that, I think for all of us, it's so easy, especially when we're busy. We're busy with whatever. It could be our careers, it could be our family, it could be where we're volunteering, right? We have limited amount of time. And we live in a society where everything goes like this. And seeking the Lord takes time. To get my head in the right space, to get my heart in the place to hear, it takes time. And then it takes time to listen, And so often I found myself, I seek God, and then I walk. Because I think I know what he wants, right? Or I just walk. I do my Carolyn thing, right? Or I listen, but what am I listening to? And this is where I've had a chance. I read some really great inspirational Christian books. I listen to some great worship music. And sometimes I've sought that stuff before I've sought God.
Wow.
And so I've looked for truths in these, and I'm just going to call them in a good way, but self-help books, self-help Christian books. And they're good, and I love them, and they challenge me. But the Lord just said, you got to get into my word. You got to seek me. And so in that, it was like, okay, in order for me to live my life to the fullest, I need to seek God. And I got to take time to listen to him. And then when I've heard him, I can walk boldly, confidently. I can walk filled with his presence, filled with his spirit, and I am unstoppable. Oh. Because I think at times when we walk without him, that's when we give in to whatever God has asked us to do or wants us to do when doubts and other things come our way.
Mm. And can I just say right now, I know some of the women that are listening, and what you just said totally spoke to their spirits. I mean, beyond. I know it does to me. But I also know some of these ladies that are on here, I know their personal stories. So thank you for just sharing that, because I know that was big to them. So thank you for that.
Wow.
Now, when coming up with this devotional, did you have an ideal reader in mind? Did you have somebody that you go, this devotional is for this woman?
Well, it's funny because it is written, it is being marketed to women, but I have had so many of my contributors have shared their devotional with their spouse, and it was exactly what their spouse needed to hear. And so I think that's the, even though it's a devotional for women, it's not just women issues, okay? We're not just talking about, it's life, okay? And that's where it's like life is everything that we're part of. And so the spiritual truths that we see in all of these apply to everyone, okay? I actually, you know, my big dream, and I've shared this with you, Holly, my big dream is I want to see this book translated into multiple languages. I want to see it in Spanish. I want to see it in French. I want to see it in Russian, whatever language that God would open up the door. Because I think these stories reveal that everyday women today in 2016 can hear from the Lord,
Yeah.
can walk out the truth that He has put into their hearts. And the road isn't always smooth. It's a little bumpy, but at the end of the day, Jesus has walked right next to them. And so whether it is someone who's walked with the Lord for a long time, whether it is someone who's a new believer, or someone who is still just kind of going, I don't know about this God thing, I believe all those women can be impacted by this book because it's real stories, and it's real battles, it's real women, and I think that's what speaks to all. We want realness, right?
Yeah.
You know, and these women will share in their devotionals that their life is not all pretty, and it's not all white picket fences, and it is not pain-free, but in that the consistent factor is that Jesus' love and grace is, and that is more than enough, even when we hit those tumultuous times in our life.
And I was going to say, what I loved about your contributors were they were like, you know, so often, especially as believers, we want to put up this great front that everything's all great and my life is wonderful and perfect. And, you know, if that were the case, we obviously we wouldn't need Jesus, right? If everything was perfect and we were perfect, you know. Clearly we all do. But I love the fact that some of them were so transparent and just the way their words and they spoke. And it was just like all of a sudden, it was like I was telling the story. Because it was that relatable. And so it was just really, I love how God does that, how He can take one thing and it can translate to so many different people and speak to them about different circumstances on different levels. And this devotional does that. And I mean, there was one story in my mind, and I won't share it because I want ladies to have to get the book. But there is one in my mind that just, this vivid image in my head, and I mean it just rocked me and just made me just want to go for it and just push harder in whatever it is that I'm facing, you know. And so and then again, like I said, there were those gentle whispers and nudges and things that were just like, Holly, you know, you kind of need to work on this. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, you know, I do. So it really does, it speaks to you on so many different levels. But it all lands perfectly right in your heart.
Absolutely. And what I've done actually in the devotional book, I've included Seek, Listen, Walk note pages to really challenge I know, right? Isn't that fun? And so write your own Seek, Listen, and Walk moment. So I think there's like 5 or 6 different places in the devotional book that you can write down, that you can take that moment to seek God. It may be something that was stirred in one of the devotionals that you read, or just for you to take that moment to pause and say, okay, God, I want to seek you. I want to hear you, and I want to walk out your truth. And so I love those. So we have snuck in a couple extra pages into the devotional book for that.
I love that. And then what you did, and I can't wait, I'm going online today and ordering all my Seek, Listen, Walk gear, okay?
Yeah.
Listen, ladies. Okay, so I love my t-shirts. I love jewelry, and that I love the devotionals. So, Carolyn, I feel like if for no one else, this was all just for me. Because I'm going on, I'm ordering my jewelry, I'm ordering the t-shirt, I'm ordering the devotion, like and the notes thing, you just threw me to a whole nother level right there. You got me. But there's like you've got this whole marketing, like all this stuff that goes around with the devotional. Do you want to share all those things? I know I kind of just gave some of them away, but
okay. So, okay.
Was that part of the plan originally, by the way?
What was that?
Was that part of the plan originally?
Not originally. No, it was just a devotional book. The thought was like, hey, let's do this fun project. Let's just do it. Let's see what happens. Um, Now, okay, so do you remember back in the day we used to have the WWJD
Yes.
bracelets? Okay, right? They've actually made a comeback. My teenage daughter bought one last year, and I was like, what? Like, they still sell those? But it did. It really just started this thought in my mind. Because it was. I remember having my WWJD bracelet. For those of you who don't know what that means, is what would Jesus do? Okay, so we'll
So that
translate.
everything you did, your bracelet was on you, and you were asking in whatever it was that you were doing, what would Jesus do in this situation?
Exactly, exactly. And so it was a great reminder, right? And so as I was doing this, I had this bracelet made by this one of my contributors. Her name is Liz Dunn. We're not related, but she's got a great last name. But I used to have a bracelet with my girls' names on. And it's one of those metal cuffs, and just cool looking. And just, I would look down on that bracelet every day and just think of my girls, and they're mine. And in this, as I was doing the Seek, Listen, Walk, there were so many times I had to remind myself daily, seek, listen, walk. And I thought, well, why not have something? Why not wear something fashionable that reminds us to do it? And so, you know what? I want to start a Seek, Listen, Walk movement, just like we did with the WWJD bracelets,
What?
right? Because, but then let's be fashionable. Let's not have it being some plastic little band.
Yes,
So I did. We have metal cups. One is like silver colored. It is copper colored. But then some people don't like bracelets. And so then I got this really cool necklace that says Seek, Listen, Walk on as well. And then, of course, you got to have a T-shirt. Come on, you can't do this. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt, right? I have sought,
exactly.
I have listened, and I have walked, okay? And so we got it all. And I think it becomes such a good reminder. Even there are times I will wear my Seek, Listen, Walk necklace on a daily basis just to remind me. And as I feel it like bounce around or it's like, take a breath, Carolyn. Don't just walk. And sometimes the walking doesn't come right away. The listening season can be quite long.
Yeah.
And I have to be okay with that because I can't walk without that listening season. And so, yeah, so we do. We have T-shirts and we have metal cups and we have necklaces and obviously the devotional book. So you can buy a launch packet that has all of it in it. And it's like discounted. It's a package. You get a T-shirt, you get a necklace, you get a bracelet, and you get the devotional.
Oh, you're speaking to my heart. So how do we get a hold of this? Like if I'm wanting to get the launch packet or the book or whatever, where do we go?
Super, super easy. You just go to seeklistenwalk.com.
Okay.
So that's what you do, seeklistenwalk.com, and you'll see everything there. Now, the book is on pre-sale right now up until November 30th because it's at the printers. So it's not even printed yet.
Yeah.
But we have almost 150 books that are already going out, which is like super, super exciting.
Amazing.
And the book's not even printed yet. So, but we have a pre-sale price going on. Up until November 30th, and then normal prices kick in. And but you'll have it before Christmas. Great Christmas gifts. And yeah, the other thing too is you want to check out. We have a Facebook page, and so I've been posting twice a week just quotes from the different devotionals. And I mean, some of them. I mean, they just a quote, like 2-3 lines, have rocked my world with this fall, just as I've been posting them. And I'm like, oh, that's right, Lord. You wanted me to do that. Oh, that's right, Lord. You have that truth for me. Oh, okay, God got it.
You posted one, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. I don't remember when it was, but you posted it. I saw it, and I immediately, like I had a conversation with a client, and I immediately saw that thing, and I just, sent that as a private Facebook message and said, girl, just read this. This is so you. Like, it was such an encouraging thing. And so the Facebook page is simply Seek, Listen, Walk?
Exactly. So if you search Seek, Listen, Walk, you'll find us.
Okay. And then, Carolyn, you hop on there? Do you hop on there and do lives from there?
I do. No, I do. I do lives. I haven't done some in a while. I did one silly one yesterday with my daughter. So I'm in the middle of talking.
So cute.
And she's like, I have this coat with a huge collar. She's like flapping the corner of my, so I'm like, guess what? You get to be in it. And she loved that. So then she kept flapping so I would film her more.
That's awesome. I love your lives because sometimes they just land right where I need it. And you are a breath of fresh air. You truly are. And gosh, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm going to cry. You are such a breath of fresh air. You are such a gift. This compilation of editors or of contributors and just really your heart for women is incredible. And so for me, as someone who works with women on a regular basis, I know struggles and pain. I know what I go through. I know what my clients go through. And this is just simply, amazing. And I thank you for your obedience in this, because I'm sure that there were challenges, there were things that you had no idea you were going to come up against. I'm sure that there was a target on your back that the enemy had marked and said, I'm going to try to take this down. So I want to thank you on my behalf and many other women that I'm sure feel the same way as I do. Thank you for just plowing through and making sure this project gets done, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that women are going to be touched. And I'm praying that Seek, Listen, Walk becomes a movement.
I do too. I mean, and it's what I love though, and this is like, it's not about me, Holly. It's about what God's doing in so many women's lives. And that is, in all of this, I've never wanted it to be about me. I want it to be about women. I want to lift women up. I want to encourage women. I want to inspire women. And it is. I mean, there are times, even this fall, where I was like, God, did I miss it? Did I miss the boat on this? Why am I doing this? Is anyone even going to buy a single book? And if I can say one thing about the dreams that God puts on your heart, and this has become so true in my life, two thoughts. One, people that you thought were going to journey with you may not journey with you, and that's okay, because God's going to bring other women along the road to journey with you. Okay? So mourn maybe the friends who don't come with you, but don't stay there. Keep moving, because God's going to bring the right people at the right time to help you accomplish your dream. And the second thing is, your dream's going to cost you something. Okay? It is going to cost you time. It is going to cost you energy. It's going to cost you lack of sleep. It's going to cost you your sanity at times. But as you push through, because you have sought God, you have heard from God, and now you're walking out His dream, He will make it happen. And so the enemy will try to trip you up. He will try to make you fail. He will try to get you to give up. And remember, success in the eyes of the world is not the same as success in the eyes of the Lord. So remember that. May your standard never be what the world will see is successful. May it always be that the Lord will tell you at the end of your project, whatever it is He's asked you to do, that He would say, well done, my good and faithful servant. So it's not your dream, it's God's dream. You just get to be part of the journey. Yeah. So my two little thoughts about dreams.
And I was going to say, and then you're coming back to the States eventually to promote this, right?
I am. I'm coming back next summer. I'm coming back in June and July. I'm coming to your church.
I know. Yay. So will you, on your Seek, Listen, Walk page, will you post where you'll be going so that women can, like, if you're in their area, can find you and seek you out? And because I know, I mean, I'm just so excited about this. Yeah. And I can't wait to see you next summer and give you a great big hug. But I also know that women are so encouraged by you. And like, you posted something, I think it was yesterday, saying that you were speaking to a group of women this weekend about their dream, right?
Yep. Doing it tomorrow.
All I could think of was, gosh, I wish I could catch a flight to be there for that. So if you don't mind recording and just kind of setting your phone up back there and hitting record for some of us, that would be fabulous.
Maybe I'll go a little live. We'll see. And I just have to say, this is so exciting about that, because it is, so I'm living in one of the most secular nations in the world, okay? Less than 2% of the population attends church. Less than 2% of the population proclaim to be followers of Christ. 2%. Like 2%. Like, that's nothing. Like, and so this event I'm speaking at, it's hosted by a church. I think there's going to be about 25 women there. And the girl who's planning the whole thing, she's like, just so you know, there's going to be some Muslims, some non-believers, atheists, just so you know. Right. And so I'm like, okay, I'm about to talk about how God puts dreams in your heart and what can happen when He does. And it is crazy, scary fun to be on this journey that the Lord has me on, because it is so different. But there's also different battles that I have to fight through, because you don't have the support system. And that's where I have to say to you, Holly, it has been fun this fall reconnecting with you. You know, it's been just some Facebook messages, and that's when I said earlier, like God will bring people along the journey with you that you weren't expecting. Like if someone would have asked me 6 months ago or back in February when I started this project, oh, Holly's going to be journeying with you. I'd be like, huh? No, like we don't talk. Yes, I've met her a few times, but no, you know, like, and look at us now, and just you send encouraging messages. And one more thing, and because this is so strong in my heart, there are so many women who they're pursuing dreams, and sometimes they just need some encouragement. And maybe that's a like on a Facebook, maybe that's tuning into a live webinar, maybe it's sending a private message. If I can encourage us women, when we encourage other women, we all win. Okay? When other women succeed, we succeed. And it takes not even 10 seconds to just even send a message, I believe in you. It doesn't take more than 1 second to click like on a post. So let's not be scared. Let's not keep scrolling past things. Let's really dive into each other's lives and just be that word of affirmation, because we all need it, right? We all need it.
And the more you give, it's going to come right back. And God's going to give it back to you. Yeah. So, Carolyn, you are just absolutely an incredible gift to so many of us. I love to hear you speak. So if you do go live tomorrow, I will be notified because I'm following you.
Well, it'll be 3 a.m. your time if I go live.
I'll catch the replay. I keep forgetting about it.
Okay, so we have to see it. So you're looking out my window. It is 3:40 p.m. in Stockholm, Sweden, and it is pitch black. Okay, so welcome to my world, and welcome to my very red face, because it is cold and my skin does not like the cold, so then it reacts to it when I get inside. Oh. So this is my life. This is my world.
Well, you're beautiful, and you make the world a prettier place by being in it and contributing what you do. So thank you very much. Ladies, I just want to tell you, go hit the Seek, Listen, Walk .com, the Facebook page. If you go to the Facebook page, I'm telling you, there are these posts that they have that are up. You know, I don't want to use the word meme because that's not, but it's a picture and it's got just like different excerpts from the devotional. And I'm telling you, ladies, follow that, because you'll get those and you'll be like, ooh, that was a good one. And it's just little excerpts. So you're getting an idea of what's in the book. So I love that. I love that. But I'm going to be, when we get done here, I'm literally going straight to the website and ordering my launch packet.
Awesome. Awesome. Yep. And you'll get it fast because my distributor lives in Ohio. So
yes!
As soon as she gets those books, everything's going to start. She's going to be busy. So,
well, and that's what I was going to ask is do you know, like, is it like a 2-week lead time for the books? I guess part of it's going to depend on where you live, right?
3 to 5 business days is what we say that you'll have. So from the time you order it, you will get your stuff 3 to 5 business days.
Awesome. So, did you do, and I'm asking this just because for those who are watching, I don't want them to put off go purchase this, I can get it later, because there is you've printed a specific number, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, we print a specific number, and so and to get more books, it's going to be a 2 to 3 week process to get more books in. So yeah, so you want to get your books. So yeah. I'm a little nervous. Okay, and this is where the dream part comes in, right? Because I don't have a church, I don't have an organization who is paying for all of this. Okay, I'm going to be real honest. Like, this is coming out of my own pocket. And it's not cheap to pay for an editor, and it's not cheap to get everything going in a website. And it was one of those, I had to make a decision. And so this is my God thing, because I knew how many books I was going to print, but I wasn't sure how I was going to pay for them. And so my little silent prayer to the Lord was, okay, so we're going to do some pre-sales. But again, you never know with pre-sales, right? And I said, I need this amount to be pre-sold to actually pay for my books, so that I don't have to take more money out of my savings account, because I've already taken money out of my savings account. Oh. And as of yesterday, I got in exactly the amount to cover for the printing. So, and again, that's where, the Lord will provide. He heard my little silent prayer, because, it is, when you've spent thousands of dollars to get a project off the ground, getting it going, and you believe in it so much, you're just like, oh, Lord, help me, And so he hears those little silent prayers, and I love that.
Well, thank you for your obedience, and just, pursuing this, and I haven't even got the first one, and I'm already looking forward to hearing about the next
Yeah.
one. So,
Yay! Super exciting, super
I
exciting.
thank you so much for joining me this morning, and ladies who are out there watching, thank you for joining us. Um, some ladies were able to make it live, but they're going to watch the replay, and so
Awesome.
yeah, so I'm really excited for that. Carolyn, thank you so much. You and I will be in touch because, well,
Yeah.
I just love hearing you. So, and if you post the Facebook Live for tomorrow, I will be watching the replay.
The replay. I love it. Thanks for having me, Holly, and thanks for your friendship. It means the world to me. It
I
absolutely
love
does.
you. You're precious. You're absolutely precious. So thank you for your time today. Ladies, thanks for joining us. And go to seeklistenwalk.com and to the Seek, Listen, Walk Facebook page. Make sure you like it. Don't just like it, but go down under the like and make sure you hit follow. And like it says, make it your default and that you're notified when there are any posts or come live or she comes on live. Because seriously, like, Carolyn, when you go on live and you say just a split second, it doesn't matter. Like it's something that speaks to you. So thank you for that. I keep saying thank you for that because you're just doing so many things for
You're
women.
welcome.
Yeah. So, anyways, ladies, don't forget to do that. Make sure you're following and you got your notifications on so that you can catch Carolyn live or catching the replay from 3 a.m.
I like that. The replay. That's going to be my new move, the replay.
I know. I feel like so, anyways, thanks so much again, Carolyn. Ladies, thanks for joining us, and we will see you all on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.